This is Drew with MMA Assault, and I'm here with Andrea, KGB Lee, and Donny Aarron, and we're going to run her through the interview gauntlet before she heads off to be grilled by the UFC Fight Pass guys for your upcoming fight, Invicta FC9, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, we'll start off before we start grilling you. I remember years ago when y'all first started, Donny sat right over here at the gym and told me, he had this girl that he knew was going to change the game when it came to women's MMA in the area, and well, you definitely hadn't made him a liar. So let's go ahead and get started here. When did you first take an interest in martial arts?
Probably at a really young age. I've always been interested in doing some sort of martial arts. I had wanted to do some kickboxing or some karate when I was younger, but we didn't have that opportunity in my hometown in Atlanta. So
Texas.
Yes, Atlanta, Texas. So anyways, after I graduated and I moved here, I started seeing a lot of places that were offering boxing or kickboxing or some sort of form of martial arts, and I didn't really look into it until I started working at Buffalo Wild Wings. They were airing UFC fights all the time, and
you couldn't help but see it every other weekend there.
Exactly.
Right?
So and it just piqued my interest even more, and I was obviously more interested in wanting to find a place to train. So somebody mentioned Donny Aarron, and I went and tried it out, and I guess he liked what he saw.
Yeah,
I stuck around.
That's kind of an understatement.
Maybe you liked what you saw too, huh?
So, after you got going and everything, at what point did you realize that you really wanted to do this for a living? You really wanted to just all in, ready to go?
Well, I guess after first of my couple of boxing matches, because after I had a few fights and I went to the Women's National Golden Gloves and I competed there, and that was on an extremely high level, and I had only been training for maybe 7 months, and it was after that tournament Donny had suggested that we try and train for the Olympics, because they were going to start having women boxing in the Olympics.
Okay. Donny, this was for you, man. What was your first impression of Andrea? First time she came in and trained?
Well, let's see. At the risk of getting backhanded out of my chair, I'll never forget the day she drove up in the parking lot. Man, she got out of the car, and she was this nerdy little girl with glasses. And she's a little bit frumpy, and she had these culotte pants on. And she came in, man, and the first time I held pads for, I saw immediate athletic ability. Her coordination was sound. Her footwork was good. I would tell her to do something, and I wouldn't have to tell her twice. But the thing that really made me kind of say whoa was when I held pads for the first time and I felt her power. You can teach a guy to hit harder than his natural abilities would allow him to, but you can't teach somebody to be heavy-handed. I can't give a guy heavy hands. There's a lot of guys been fighting all their life, and they win fights, they do good, most times they go to the decision, and they couldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. They just don't have heavy hands. She's one of those fighters that, with both hands, I knew she had knockout power.
Okay, all right. Now, how long were y'all training? Well, never mind, we actually just covered that one. You kind of led into that one, beat me to the punch.
That's my game.
How long were y'all training before you realized you wanted to take her off the market? You guys got married last year?
It was weird how it happened, man. We trained. She came to me in mid 2009, and we trained, and I had girlfriends, and she had a boyfriend. And we were just coaching and fighter for over a year, and I guess we spent that much time around one another, and our interests and kind of goals in life seem similar, and you know, you can't fight Mother Nature, and things just happen.
I was actually the one who.
Well, you couldn't be more right than that. That's why I had to peel my head.
I was actually the one who brought up.
So you were the one that initiated.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Initiated.
She chased me.
So you
She
were
chased
the.
me. I wasn't gonna put her under the bus like that, but since she said
Chase you.
she chased me.
Oh man, and there went my next question, man. Y'all had just beat me right to the punch.
That's right, man.
Well, now when you got married, there was this cool ass photographer that showed up to your wedding and took took a picture that
Who could that have been?
you know, I've heard Andrea say was one of her favorites.
Right.
You know, not one of the studio photographers, nothing like that, but. Who was that that came to y'all's show?
I did have slightly more hair back then, but
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Was it?
Oh, is it Andrew
Was it-
Griggs?
Perhaps that picture.
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh yeah. I love this
that's
picture.
the best wedding picture ever.
You've been on me
And
about that for a while, and I told you I was going to give it
That
to
pretty
you.
much
but-
describes how our marriage has been ever since.
Yeah.
Knuckle to knuckle.
All right, man. Well, and
Thank
how long did you train before you competed for the first time, and what did it feel like the first time that you stepped into the cage or boxing ring? You know, your first competition.
My first competition was a boxing match, and I had been training for 5 months, 4 to 5 months. I was training every day consistently, at least 4 hours a day, and it was nerve-wracking. I didn't know much about cutting weight. I didn't have to cut much, probably like 7 pounds, but I thought it was the end of the world. And I ate a lot. I ate a little bit too much. I devoured too much food after that first cut. And once I stepped in the ring, I was so nervous that I forgot my mouthpiece. I didn't have a mouthpiece. It was in the stands. They had to run back up the bleachers to get my mouthpiece, and
That's partially my fault too. I should have had the mouthpiece.
And I was fighting blind at the time. I couldn't see anybody, so I had to get somebody to go get it for me because I couldn't see anything. I had no contacts in at that moment, and I was really nervous. Luckily, I couldn't see the faces or anybody else. I could hear Donny, and that was
Well,
it.
that kind of calms the nerves a little bit, right? When you can't see the faces.
It calmed me a little bit, but everybody was definitely was hoping for that girl to win. The girl that I competed against, it was in her hometown. And so, you know, the nerves were definitely there. So I knew that I had to finish her, or I was going to lose. If it went to decision, she was definitely going to win. There was no doubt in my mind that I had to finish her. Luckily, I ended up stopping her in the second round. The end of the second round, she is technical knockout, and I was so nervous that I had to go to the bathroom and throw everything up after that fight. My nerves were just, I was on cloud 9. I mean, my adrenaline was so high. The moment that I started to relax, it just kind of dropped, and I just had to go to the bathroom. It was fun though.
Now, where did the name KGB come from, and who gave it to you?
Don.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Where'd that originate?
Man, you know, I mean, look at her. She looks, to everybody in the gym, all the guys thought she looked like a Russian chick. She's got big wide cheekbones and a big jaw and blue eyes and a little nose and blonde hair. And every Russian girl that I've ever seen or that I ever thought was hot looked like that. So it started out like Nikita or Kami or whatever, and it just kind of turned into KGB.
All right, man. Well, now, how many titles, belts, and medals would you say that you've collected since you began, since you started fighting?
Quite a bit. If you add in all my grappling competition, I guess about 16, 17, something like that.
Okay.
Maybe a little,
Now, some of
a little bit
those,
more.
Yeah.
some of those were
You
even.
got 9 belts, man.
Now,
I mean, come on.
yeah.
9 belts. He's asking about medals and trophies and all that stuff.
That's belts,
20?
medals, trophies.
Yeah, we're talking 40, 50 medals, trophies, belts.
Yeah, because I mean, there were several, I know, Facebook posts that I saw from gi and no gi tournaments to where you medaled in women's,
right? You win 3 medals
in
one
men's
tournament
as well.
Well, I guess I'm thinking about just most major accomplishments. I don't know.
Now, hey, don't beat me to that punch. Now that's in here.
I don't know how many exactly. It's a large number.
Okay, well here's a little bit easier one. Which one of your titles, belts, medals, which one's the most memorable for you?
Maybe. Yeah, my legacy belt. That was a big accomplishment for me.
Yeah, that was a hell of a fight. I know I was fortunate enough to be cage side for that one. And
that was a great fight.
Yeah, that was her most well-rounded performance to date. And we really consider that her last MMA fight because that 10-second crap we just had wasn't really a fight.
Yeah.
So really that fight with Val at Legacy was what we call our last MMA fight. And coming off that performance, that was definitely her best performance and the most well-rounded KGB that I've seen.
Yeah, I know that's the best performance I've seen out of her for sure. Now, which one was? Well, you jumped ahead of me again. Which one was the hardest one? You would say the Legacy one would be the hardest fought title.
Well, what about the Muay Thai tournaments? Because those
were
got
really
the IKF.
tough.
Because you're fighting multiple fights in a day, multiple fights in a weekend, multiple weight cuts in a weekend. So it's not just maybe necessarily the individual fight, but it's the setting of the tournament itself.
My Muay Thai tournaments, those would definitely be the toughest, I think.
Yeah,
exactly
definitely.
what he just said. From having to cut and keep my weight down, and then having to fight so many times in 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, definitely not taking anything away from Val. Don't come down here and hunt.
The toughest single fight I think we've had, but it wasn't a tournament setting.
Right.
Now, which one are you the most proud of out of all of them?
Well, that's not all of them, but
I know.
Yeah, I mean, this is.
These are my 3 favorite though.
These are 3 favorites.
These are my 3 favorites.
So now you touched on the IKF.
Yes.
You touched on the Legacy. Now this one
IKF.
here, this was another IKF. Now was this your first
This was my first.
IKF title? This one.
This is my
Okay.
first belt ever.
Okay.
And gee,
It's hard to narrow it down between all of them, right?
it is. I mean, they're all great accomplishments.
I think the first fight against Christy Teichen-Guinso at the WKA,
that's what was on my mind too. I was thinking the same thing. Just because, she was expected to win. She had a camera crew. They were doing a reality show and they were following her around and,
Yeah, those reality shows.
Yeah, we know about those.
We know about the
we got a little bit of
reality shows.
experience with those.
It was
Now, have you ever faced an opponent that say maybe didn't take you as seriously as they should because of your involvement, with MTV's Cage? They knew you were associated with it and all that,
Most definitely. I think probably my fight against Christy Kester. I mean, she'll even tell you herself, she thought that I was going to be an easy opponent. I didn't win that fight, but it was a great. It was a
3-round war.
It was a 3-round war.
You knocked her down twice, and it was a war.
It was definitely a battle. I mean, I wasn't supposed to take that fight because I was matched up with somebody else, but her fighter had backed out, so they needed somebody to step up. So I took the fight, and she was thinking, oh, she's just a boxer, this is going to be easy, and it ended up being a 3-round war. So it happens.
Now, what made you choose to go pro now versus going to the Olympics, going for the gold, and once you accomplished your dreams there, transitioning into the pro ranks?
We both kind of decided that, the window for women's MMA was opening, and it would have been the best opportunity for me to turn pro now than to wait, because I would be a little bit older, and right now I'm at my peak, and
And with guys like Dana, you know, putting on
Yeah.
the Ultimate Fighter,
Yep.
125-pound division.
Right.
We're waiting for that tough.
No, yeah.
You know, I got to admit too, I had a little bit of a fear because if you'll remember, women's boxing was kind of a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
You know, you had Christy Martin and Deidre Gogarty had that epic battle on that Mike Tyson undercard, and that sparked the interest in women's boxing, and it took off for a few years. And you had girls like Mia St. John, later Layla Ali, you know, Lucia Riker and Ann Wolfe. But when those pioneer girls were gone, women's boxing just faded away, and now you can't turn on TV and find any women's boxing. I mean, there are still girls that are competing, but they're not competing on television, and they're not making the big bucks.
You pretty much have to Google it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I guess I had a little bit of a fear. I don't think it's the case now. I'm a little bit more confident, but I was afraid that women's MMA might be a flash in the pan, and I wanted to strike while it was hot, while the iron was hot.
Yeah.
I knew that she was in her peak. I didn't want to take 2 years of her life pursuing that Olympic thing, and then you know, maybe we missed our window with women's MMA, but you know, in the last 2 years, and with the addition of women into the UFC, I think it's stabilized the women's side of the sport, and I think it's here to stay.
Okay. Now, at GFA 27, right here at the stage, you know, you had a very short but interesting
Yes.
fight. What was going through your mind when you threw that kick and she backed up and just kind of started holding her hand, and you realized once you saw it what had happened, you know, and her finger was just dangling there? What was going through your mind when you realized what was going on?
Well, first when I kicked her and she started, you know, she looked down, then she looked back up, and then she looked down again. And she started doing this, and I was thinking, what the crap? There's no timeouts. Like, you know, just because I thought maybe she was having like a glove malfunction or something like that. That's what I was thinking that it was. And, you know, I was upset at first. But then when the ref went to go and look at her finger, and then he started calling the doctor, I was thinking, okay, well, something's going on. I gotta see what's going on over there. So walk over there, and freaking bones poking out and blood's pouring out of her finger, and I'm just like, oh God, it's not gonna be able to continue this fight for sure. so then I was like immediately upset and disappointed because, you know, that I knew the fight was over and we hadn't even gotten started yet. And
yeah, you put in all that work and you get one kick out of everything.
And it wasn't even a knockout. It was a finger. You know, nobody wants to win like that.
Oh yeah, I was very upset. You know, I felt incomplete with that fight. And you know, then I saw, you know, a lot of people were happy and a lot of people were upset, you know, because they wanted to see the fight too.
Because, I mean, after all, you know, we didn't think that we were going to get to see your pro debut.
Right.
And, you know, thanks to guys like Donny and Alan Gray for you know, bringing this show home for us, you know, we were actually able to see that. So, yeah, I could imagine that would be pretty disappointing, and, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, if you will.
Right.
So, now what's been the most difficult time that you've been through, you know, since you and Donny started training together and since you started training to be a fighter? What's like one of the hardest times that you've been through since you started?
Well, I think I struggle a lot, really, you know, with having to make the sacrifice of not being able to see family all the time. So, I mean, that's kind of a consistent thing, or a consistent struggle. I mean, you know, in order for me to do this full time, I have to make the sacrifice. And so I don't get to spend as much time with Ainsley. I mean, she's up here every day with us, you know, but I mean, you know, we don't get to really like take her and
that's not go to the park time.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's I guess that would be one of my biggest struggles since I started.
All right. Now, speaking of Ainsley, if I remember, shortly after you had her, I mean, you were pretty much right back in there. About how long was it after you had her before you were right back in there kicking ass again.
You know, she never, before she got pregnant and had Ainsley, she had never had an MMA fight before.
Yeah.
So her MMA debut was 12 weeks postpartum, Women's Fighter of the Year. So that's who she made her amateur debut against, and she lost a split decision. So, you know, there's been a lot of talk on Facebook about Andrea's record wasn't that good. She unofficially 8-3, officially 7-3. But there's been a lot of talk about those 3 losses, and people don't realize that 2 of those losses were in her first 3 fights, 12 weeks after pregnancy, and they were split decision losses. So you know, I just I think people aren't giving her a fair shake on her record, on her amateur record.
Okay. Well, hey, that's all gone, and right now we're 1-0.
That's right. We're 1-0,
so,
about to be 2-0.
You know, that's in the past. We got 1-0 now, so.
Yeah, I definitely got back in there pretty quickly.
So now, who are some of the female fighters that you've had a chance to train with, whether it be going to their gym and training with them, or having them fly in and you know, come and train with you, and you know, how has that helped your game?
I've had a lot of great female MMA fighters come and train with me here recently. I had Amanda Bobby Cooper and Callie Cutler and Miranda Deering. All 3 of them came from Michigan, from Camp SFS. And, you know, we spent some time with them here, and I also flew there to train with them. And I've also trained with Roma Pawlek. She flew in over this last week and trained with me. And Swana Tim, she came in from Dallas to work with me. And I've also had
Amber Stotzenberger.
I went to train with Amber Stotzenberger, and I went to train with Montana Stewart
at Team Takedown.
At Team Takedown in Dallas. And then also I've had, you know, a couple other girls come in and train with me. Candace,
now
Markle.
we need you to stay away from Dallas for right now, because we don't need you.
Yeah, I don't want no.
Yeah.
We don't need any of the bowling coming back.
I think we changed planes in Dallas. I'm a little concerned about that on this flight to Davenport. I think we got to go through.
So you're saying you need an MMA assault hazmat suit?
Yeah, I do. I need the whole gas mask thing.
We'll have to see what we can do to hook you up. Yeah, we can't have our girl catching that.
No,
that's
definitely
for sure. Right. So now, who are some of the people that you look up to in the martial arts world? Whether it be, you know, fighters in the cage, whether it be, you know, trainers, some of your personal senseis.
Well, I'd have to say that the people that I look up to would. One of the persons would be Donny Aarron.
You looked up to him so much you married him, right?
Right. And then
she's just sitting arm's length from me. That's why she said that.
Grandmaster Baker, you know, Mark Peters, all of my trainers. You know, I look up to them a lot. Helson Gracie and Ajarn Buck is my Muay Thai master, and you know, Brent Mason too. He's helped me out along the way. And I guess, you know, if I had to say like a female fighter, I really do like Cyborg a lot, just because she's so mean and aggressive. You know, I mean, like, she gets in there and she gets it done, and so does Ronda Rousey. I like that about both of them. They're not in there to win; they're in there to finish their opponent. So I do like that about them.
So I'm guessing that you're definitely not opposed to Dana lining up Cyborg and Rousey. You're kind of pulling for that fight, huh?
I would like to see it. I think everybody would like to see it though eventually.
Yeah, definitely.
And Jake DeMint, sorry, I have to say Jake DeMint too.
Yeah, hey, you can't forget the boxing
can't forget
coach
Jake.
now. He gave you all kinds of props yesterday on Facebook, so you know, can't leave him out. Now, what do you know about your upcoming opponent, Shannon Sin, that you'll be fighting at Invicta FC9, and you know, how do you plan to how do you see that fight go?
I'm hoping to finish her in the first round. That's how I see it going. But I know that she has a background in jiu-jitsu. She's a purple belt. You know, she's got some great accomplishments there. And she's got a little bit of stand-up. I think that my stand-up is much better than hers. I also have, you know, wrestling, which I don't think that she has. I mean, I haven't seen any of her. I don't think her takedowns are any good. But you know, she's a good fighter. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. Or maybe we'll bring out the best in each other.
Well, you know, I actually posted a post earlier today and asked some of your friends and fans, you know, if they had any questions for you. And if you don't mind, I'm going to pull those up and we'll see what they had to say. All right. All right, now this one is from Mike Nukem, good friend, fan, probably one of the biggest WMMA fans that I know or you know. I know you had a chance to meet him, you know, at one of your tournaments, right. And this one's from him, and he wanted to know, does Andrea realize that she hasn't lost a fight since we met here in Virginia? I must be good luck. Seriously, though, she hasn't lost a fight since then. What do you think about that?
I saw that. I saw that comment that he made, and I thought I got to think about it. I'm like, yeah, you know, he's right. She's like on a 14 fight win streak since we met Mike. So
yeah,
you know, count boxing and Muay Thai and MMA and everything. She's on like a 14 fight win streak.
All right. Well, let's see. Now this one's from Michael Dozer Stahl. Yeah, you already commented on this one, but we're going to put it out there. Said, ask her how many fingers does she plan on breaking this time? Is she just going to increase by one every fight, or is she planning to go for the whole set?
May go for the whole set. Who knows? Guess we'll just have to see.
Now, he also added in, you know, maybe you ought to just walk up and just pick a finger, call it, just like the Babe.
Like Babe Ruth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks for that one, Dozer. Now, Kit Lamb, another good friend and fighter of yours out of Texas, as well as a sponsor, right? Right. She asked, what about your fight regimen, your nutrition? What goes into preparing you as far as like your nutrition and all that goes going into a fight?
Andrea's not as scientific as I am. You know, she's hard,
dude.
She's
the master behind everything.
Man, I'm like her babysitter. I'm her coach and her babysitter all wrapped into one. So it starts out with me making her breakfast and making her pre-workout replacement meal drink and her energy drinks, and you know, I line everything out. I proportion everything out for the whole day. And I make sure she's taking her supplements the right way. Kit, who is actually Andrea's supplement coach, is is in Dallas, so she's not with her. We don't have the chance to be with her every day, but you know, we communicate with her regularly, and she makes sure that we're on point and doing what we're supposed to do. And I'd say since we started this new supplementation stuff with Herbalife, I think that we have absolutely seen dramatic results in both her conditioning and the ease of her weight cut. The cut is so much easier on the Herbalife, and getting it, not just the cut, but getting back what you lost. Yeah. You know, that's the science of the cut. It's not just losing the weight, but being strong when you get in the cage. And you know, Andrea's she's getting 100% of her weight back, so that's a big deal to us.
All right, now I got another one here, and shout out to Kitcom. We appreciate it. I've got two here from James 3-Card Hutch. Yeah, you know him.
Yeah.
One of them I'm going to leave out. No, you know what? He wants to know who cuts your hair. That's the first one.
Who cuts my hair?
Hey, that's Hutch.
Lindsay Bertoli from Bercato. Sorry, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of noodles. I'm thinking of noodles.
Bertoli is spaghetti. Bercato is your hairdresser. See what I mean? I have to tell her who her hairdresser is. I
know. Lindsay Bercato.
Wow.
Over in Shreveport on Uri Drive.
Now.
No, Lawn Avenue. Sorry.
Now, the second question he had for you, you're going to love this one. When she leaves on her trip here in a couple of days, can I borrow her Jeep? I promise to bring it back clean and with a full tank of gas.
Oh.
Man, I've seen Hutch drive.
You can always count on Hutch for something wild. So what do you got to say about that one? Sorry,
No,
Hutch.
Tell him you'll take your mud ride when you get back.
Yeah, I'll take you mud riding sometime.
Yeah, you got to watch. Hutch will hold you to it.
Yeah,
now,
he will, no doubt.
All right, now the last one is from Jeremy Caudillo. And Jeremy, come on, man. You asked the same question Kit did. But we love you anyway. We love you and we miss you. Shout out to all our caged buddies. And yeah, you know, we always think about y'all. We'll never forget about y'all. Now, one last thing here. I'm going to take a page out of Michael the Voice Chavello's book and ask you. I've always loved this in his The Voice Versus interview. So, like I said, I'm going to borrow this one from him for a minute. If there was a fire and you could only save one of your fight videos, which one would it be and why?
Jeez.
Wow, that's a tough question.
Oh, yeah.
That actually happened to me. That's a weird thing about it.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, okay, look. A lot of them are on YouTube, so the ones that aren't on YouTube, which that's
No, that doesn't count.
What?
Now.
You're breaking the rules, man.
Now, if all of them were destroyed, but one, you can only have one. Which one would you keep?
At this moment, I think it would probably be the Legacy one.
With Val.
With Val Oswald.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, no doubt. It was a complete fight. If you're a fan of MMA, then you love that fight. And they got fight of the night that night on a card with Derek Krantz was on that card, and Thomas Almeida, undefeated Thomas Almeida that went to the UFC was on that card. And of all of those, Tony Kelly was on it. Matt Schnell was on it, and all of those great pros that were on the card, Andrea and Val got fight of the night. So that tells you, something about that fight. It was special.
Yeah. Speaking of Tony, what did you think of his improvement since Caged and the amateur days as compared to when he came back home for Legacy and did what he did?
I think he's gotten so much better. I mean, he's already a great fighter, but I mean, he's definitely improved since he's been gone. He's a beast, and I think he can definitely go somewhere if he just keeps fighting.
I think he's 2 fights away from being a contender. The UFC is going to pick him up. He's got that other thing that guys don't have.
He's got that it factor.
He is an alpha male. You put Tony put Tony Kelly in a building with Randy Couture and Pat Miletich and Brock Lesnar and just take your pick, smorgasbord of heavyweight champions. And Tony Kelly is still going to be convinced he's the baddest man in the room, and he will believe it. And that's he carries that to the cage.
And that's what you got to do.
He is an
absolute
alpha male. I'm a big fan of Tony Kelly.
I love his confidence.
Shout out to Tony Primetime Kelly. We love you. Now, is there anybody that you want to thank, sponsors, friends that have helped you through the process, people that have helped you get to the point, where you are today?
I do. I would like to thank my newest sponsor, Article 15. These are my new shirts too, by the way, so y'all need to go and buy one.
Where can they go get those at?
At article15clothing.com or art15clothing.com. $25 each, and if you use the KGB code, then you get 5% discount.
And they don't just sell those shirts. They have a smorgasbord of things that they sell. Anything from beer mugs to pro-military apparel. The story behind the company is these guys are all combat vets. Some of them are wounded warriors, and they're cool guys, man. I mean, they're pro Second Amendment, and they stand for everything we stand for.
Yeah, we love that down here.
Yeah, that's right. We support our troops and we like to bear arms. So we love those guys. And anyway,
we don't like to just whoop ass down.
Right, that's
we like
right.
to bear arms.
That's right. Like to kill our own meat, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
so who else?
I would like to thank Champion Nutrition. That's my Herbalife nutritionist.
AndreaKGBLee.com.
Yes, you have to go to AndreaKGBLee.com. Sorry, I'm getting all tongue twisted here. AndreaKGBLee.com. That's my my nutritional website. Also, Amber Elite, Cash Time, Classic Stone, Larkin Development, and Helson Gracie, Jarn Buck, let's see, X Onyx, and I don't know, Martial Arts Wife. I'd like to thank Donny Aarron, all of my friends and my family, all of my training partners at Karate Mafia, everybody that helps to get me prepared for my fight.
Now you even got a training partner or two, you know, that come up from Alexandria as well, right? That can help you prep too, right?
Candace.
Yeah,
Candace
shout out to
Markle,
Candace.
Shout out to Candace. All of my friends and other training partners from Elite, you know, the ones that come over here and help me to prepare. Brent Mason, Jake Mint, Grandmaster Baker, Alan Smith, Eric Sands, who's been helping me with my wrestling. Elliot Lopez also, who's also been helping me with my wrestling. So many people to thank.
Are we having a
Yes,
moment here?
I'm having a moment.
We're having one of those moments. This is, you got this?
Come on.
I'd also like to thank I would also like to thank Shannon Knapp and Julie Kedzie at Invicta FC. I really want to thank them for this opportunity that they have given me, and I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. You're definitely going to want to have me back, and I can't wait to put on a show for y'all. So, thank you.
You know, I talked earlier about how I thought I was afraid that women's MMA might be a flash in the pan. You know, that it might get a lot of steam and then peter out. And I think that what Shannon and Julie have done at Invicta has been a big part of why women's MMA has grown and it's become mainstream. I think without those two ladies and what they're doing, you know, women's MMA may and may not be here. So
yeah, I mean, we would have no tough right now.
Exactly,
you know?
there'd be no.
We'd have a bunch of you know, male clowns running around, testosterone, bumping in, drunk fights, all that good stuff, instead of, you know, some really good women's fights. You know, if it wasn't for them. So yeah, we definitely appreciate that.
For sure, and I look forward to meeting both those two ladies next week and hanging out with them after the fight and after the win.
Me too.
Anybody you forgot?
Anybody I forgot? I'm sorry. I'm really not trying to forget. It's just one of those ones. But I really appreciate everybody, friends and family, everybody that's helped me and supported me along the way. You know, Mike McGee. You know, Derek Eason. Y'all have helped me out a lot. So thank you for all of your sponsorship and your continued support. You too, Andrew Griggs.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And Kelly Carson too for helping me along the way, helping me get sponsors and fights. Thank you so much.
And of course, you know, fans out there like Mike.
Of course, fans.
Yeah, we'd be here all day. We start naming fans, but they're really what this is all about, man. And you know, Andrew's a performer. She puts on a show every time she goes out, and she truly loves her fans. She's one of the people who never turns down a picture with somebody or never turns down
I know I've taken a ton of pictures.
Man, she'll miss the after party.
After fight, so I can attest to that.
She's missed after parties so she can hang out, sign autographs for her fans and stuff like that. She's definitely a people's champion, you know.
Yeah. And guys, you know, I want to thank Andrea Lee and Donnie. You know, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Drew,
for
all your help along the way and for the way that you support MMA locally, and it's turning for you. It's turning into a regional thing now, and I'm glad to watch MMA Assault grow and you know, and for us to have been a part of that. So I think what you're doing is awesome, man.
All right, and guys, any way that you can help support us. We can't do this for fighters like Andrea and other fighters without your support. Not many people realize that MMA Assault is a non-profit. I don't make money off of this. I've got a day job for that. You know, we make all of our money off of merchandise and things like that, and it turns around, it goes right back into the business so we can help guys like this and you know, other fighters. So,
Right.
you know, we appreciate, you know, any kind of help. You know, we've got shirts at any show. You see me out there, come see me. And one last thing,
Yes.
MMA assault is so in your face it should be illegal.
That's right.
Thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, bud.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you so much.